everybody, it's Rob back again with another video. How are ya? Now this time we're doing some Photoshop, and if you may or may not have seen, Photoshop have just announced this big update in January 2018 with this new select tool. Now I'm not a big compositor, or I'm not actually that much of a big Photoshop user now, not as much as I was. And this is quite a specific tool, and they're kind of advertising it as a one button selection to make really good selections, but it will only work out the selection based on the contrast of the background. So it's perfect for people who composite and people who are taking photos with models on a blocked background, so like a nice white background or a nice grey background, so the contrast is maximal. Maximal, is that even a word? Anyway, so I want to just show you a few examples of what I mean. And this is a picture of my dog. You may have seen him already, and you can see that the background is very close to the colour of the dog. It's very messy and busy, and there's not much contrast between the dog, my dog, and the background in this picture. So we can go to the quick selection tool, and we get this select subject at the top now. Select subject and select and mask. I'm just going to click on select subject, and Photoshop is going to try and work out what selection I want from this image. Now I'm recording the screen as well, so it's a bit slow, but as you can see, or you may not be able to see, let me just zoom in a bit. So it's got the marching ants round his ear here, and then it goes all the way off up here, round in this corner here, because the contrast up here is much better. So it's missed the ear, come down here, missed completely the edge of the dog here, round this corner, and you can understand how Photoshop has done that because of the lack of contrast. So if I deselect that, let's go into another image, and yes, it's another dog. This is my sister's dog, but the background here is still very, or quite close to the colour of the dog's ears and fur around here, but there is a bit of contrast, there's a bit of shape of the dog. So let's see what Photoshop can do with this one. So I'm going to click on the quick selection tool, and I'm just going to click on select subject again. And normally this doesn't come up, but it's just because I'm recording, I think. And there you go, Photoshop has done a much better job of going round the ears. I think it helps that the tip of the ears here are black, and even round here, it's not perfect here, and it's missed out some of the dog here, but it gives you a pretty good starting point. Whether it would be better to go with the quick selection tool anyway and then just do it manually is another thing. So let's go to another image finally, and I'll just deselect this one, and here we have a picture. This is a raw image of my wife and my boy quite a few years ago. Forget that the sea is not horizontal, forget that. But let's go to the quick selection tool again, and let's click on select subject and see what Photoshop can do with this, because I think this is going to be much better. And look at that, that is just awesome. Now if I just zoom in, it's still not perfect, because here Emma's hair kind of merges in with the colour of the sea here. You've got this wisp of hair along here, and it's missing this bit here. But it's not a bad, it's not a bad selection. And let's just zoom out again. Let's just get rid of that. Let's get rid of that selection there. There we go. So there you can see that Photoshop has done a pretty good job. Now, when you're compositing, you make the pictures and you take the subjects so that you know you're going to be compositing, and so this tool and this tool in Photoshop, the select subject tool and the select and mask is really good for them subjects. And if you've got optimum contrast, so a subject taken on a background, this is going to save you time. There's no doubt about it. But for me, this doesn't suck. It doesn't suck at all, but it's not advertised, in my opinion, as it should be. If it's for the masses, not everyone's using portrait backgrounds. You get designers, yeah, that are going to want to isolate different subjects, but for the other half, or the other people that use Photoshop in a kind of more leisurely way, touching up photos and stuff like that, this isn't going to be any use to them, no more than just the quick selection tool and then your refine edge tool, things like that. So that's my take on it. I like Photoshop and I respect Adobe for pushing the boundaries, but again, it's kind of advertised that if you click on the select subject tool, it's going to select your subject, perfect, and then you can slide it over to a different background. It's not going to work like that. And as we've just shown an example, you can have subject with a busy background where you're going to have to spend half an hour just cutting out the subject to move on to a different background. So that is just a quick video. That is my take on it. Again, respect Adobe for pushing the limits of what Photoshop can do with this new technology. That is it from me. Look out for more videos of Photoshop and Lightroom. Take care, guys. See you next time. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. See you soon.